What is up, faithful Niner gang? We are here on the day before Brock Purdy's surgery. As we all know the news, February 22nd. Today's February 21st. That means tomorrow is February 22nd. It is finally here, Brock Purdy's surgery. And this is a monumental day for the rest of the season because this is going to shape our quarterback situation. It's kind of crazy. So what's up, everybody? Terrence, Angel Leon, Pockets, Jane, Jaime, Nathan, Nia, Debbie. What's up, everybody? I'm doing well. I hope everybody else. Angel says it's really windy here in the 209. It's windy out here today. I was driving back. Wind was everywhere. This big truck I was right behind, like leaves were falling. It was crazy. I just washed my car this weekend. I was like, so much for that. But let's talk about this real quick tonight. There's not a lot to talk about, but obviously we got to talk about something. Tomorrow, the big story will be Brock Purdy's surgery. So as we all know, as we should know, if you haven't been keeping up with the updates, Brock Purdy's surgery is tomorrow, Wednesday, the 22nd of February. As we all, it is going to be done by Dr. Keith Meister, the Texas Rangers team physician. He will perform the surgery in Arlington, Texas. As we know, Texas Rangers are a baseball team, so this guy specializes in the forearm, elbow, wrist, hand surgeries of that nature, upper extremity, basically. Purdy and the 49ers, as we know, they're holding their breath that the injury requires only a repair and not a hybrid surgery. That also entails some reconstruction. So obviously the plan is for an internal brace. That's what we've been reading. That's what they've been telling us, which involves screws and sutures to stabilize the ligament. So they put a brace, they put some screws in there, they put some sutures, and they nail it down, basically. They nail down the ligaments, and then they let it, stabilize and heal over a course of time. But Dr. Meister will determine during surgery if a graft is needed. So if they need a graft, it's going to complicate things. So this is a very, very big day because they're going to, in the surgery room, in the OR, when they're looking at stuff, then they might have to do a little bit more to stabilize this. Now, obviously, it's been about a month, give or take a week or so, about 3 weeks, I guess you could say. No, about a month. And, there was probably a lot of swelling initially. There's a lot of people I saw, why did he get it right away? He wanted to make sure he got the right, operation that he did, that he's going to get. He had to go through all the correct avenues. He had to get all the correct opinions. There's a lot, there's not a lot of doctors that perform this, I'm sure, but you want to get the best of the best, get their opinions. And then you also have to wait for swelling to go down. And I'm not just, and no matter what surgeon it is, they can't just schedule, tomorrow we'll have surgery. I mean, they got a busy schedule themselves. So it takes a little time to schedule these things out, especially as an athlete. You want to make sure you have the right surgery set and everything like that. Again, there's also swelling. So tomorrow they're getting it done. And according to all the literature here and, research and things that, we've read, the internal brace option would keep Purdy out about 6 months. That's what we've heard, right? Allowing him to start throwing in 3 months with a slow 3-month buildup. That's the 6-month approach. You get healing in 3 months as long as there's no setbacks, and then you ramp it up, you start throwing. So the more intensive surgery could sideline him into the season and maybe even longer. So we all know this is a monumental day. I hope that his surgery goes well, no matter what kind of surgery, whether it's the 6-month, whether it's the longer surgery, regardless if it's, the more intense or the lower one. I hope that it goes well. That's all I really, really want, because this is a young man. He's 22, 23 years old, young guy, and he has a bright future ahead of him. But hopefully there's no setbacks, and I just want him to have a good, speedy recovery. This is a huge, huge, monumental day for the 49ers offseason, because, the thing with Brock Purdy is, again, we don't know if he's going to come back 100% in 6 months or 9 months, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. We'll find out a little bit more. But also, too, if Brock Purdy's injured, that means we have one quarterback on the roster as of right now. Obviously, that should change by the time the offseason rolls around or the training camp rolls around. But right now, your only quarterback pretty much on the roster that will be healthy by then is Trey Lance. Now, we know that Purdy, right, he played as a rookie last year. It was crazy. He took us on a magical roller coaster ride down the end, or magic carpet ride, I should say, right? And then Lance, unfortunately, he got hurt too. That opened the door pretty much, right? But Lance is close to returning himself. He's probably a couple weeks away from being ready to go out there and start running and things like that. So that's going to be next level. Trey Lance is ahead of Brock, no matter how you slice this. No pun intended. That was pretty bad. No matter how you look at this situation, that came out pretty bad. No matter how you slice it, yeah, it was a bad pun. I didn't even know I was going to say that. But anyways, no matter how you look at the situation, Trey Lance is going to be ahead of him. You know what I mean? So it is going to be an interesting situation. But again, Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance, they should be competing. There should be a competition, is what we're all expecting. But it really depends on where Purdy is in terms of his recovery by then. So, of course, right now, Trey Lance has a head start, no matter how you look at this situation. So, right now, again, Trey Lance, he's going to have the big opportunity, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen with Brock. And if it's going to be more of an intense surgery, enter Trey Lance. He's your guy. He's your man. And, it is a little irritating to see a lot of people just hating on Trey Lance already, because this might be the quarterback of the 49ers this year, depending on how the surgery goes with Brock Purdy. And I want to support him. Obviously, we saw what Brock did, and he was amazing. And it was like, oh, my God, this rookie could be the guy. But he's going to have surgery, unfortunately. And right now, Trey Lance is the quarterback on the roster that's probably going to be healthy and, our QB1 until Brock comes back and they figure that out. But, so I got Trey's back, man. I hope he comes out and he competes hard and he goes out there and shows what he can do. He's hungry. He's a determined player. He wants the opportunity, like we've talked about. And I think Trey Lance has the skill set. Just needs to go out there and prove himself. And, a lot of people are doubting him. So we'll hopefully get to see a full, complete Trey Lance out there just trying to go and prove people wrong. We saw what Purdy did, and it was amazing. So there's a lot of expectations for Trey right now, because he has to go out there and leave without a shadow of a doubt that he could be the guy right now. So, and then if you look into the situation more, 49ers quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to be a free agent next month, right? And the 49ers are not going to probably bring him back. Kyle Shanahan already rid him off. He doesn't expect him to come back. So they're going to find that low-cost quarterback 3 in free agency, that the emergency quarterback, that QB3. So then, we'll have to really see who they're going to bring in. So this whole quarterback situation tomorrow really gets heavy as we continue to get into the offseason. So, again, if Purdy's surgery is more involved than expected, the 49ers will see a higher-end veteran maybe with Trey Lance until Purdy returns. So this surgery will not only determine Trey Lance's situation and, what the situation going into the season is going to be. But now you have to look at it this way. If if Brock Purdy's surgery is more complicated, if it's a higher end surgery, if they need a longer recovery, they might not go for a low tier veteran quarterback. They might have to get a better quarterback to be the backup, right? Because you don't want a bad quarterback. Again, 49ers, they want to make sure they can compete for a Super Bowl. They might need to get a better quarterback if Brock Purdy isn't going to be able to play for 9 months, for 12 months. If it's a year type situation, they might need to get a better quarterback. It's not as easy as we all thought, like we were sitting there thinking the other day, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Andy Dalton. You might need to get a better guy than that, to come in. You can't just throw any geeky off the street. You don't want that Josh Johnson situation. So this is a very, very big day tomorrow, Wednesday, the 22nd. It's going to really determine a lot of our season. It's going to really determine a lot of what's going to happen in this offseason. So, I hope that Brock Purdy heals well. I hope his surgery is a success. And I hope he doesn't have any setbacks, because that's something we really don't want to see with Purdy and everything. And, again, I hope Trey Lance goes out there and he could come back fully healthy and show the world what he's about. Because, again, he's coming off a major injury himself. It's not like he just went out there and roses were rubbed on his knee or something silly, or like he bent his finger or he strained a hamstring. No, he broke some bones in his foot. That's a serious injury. So it takes time for a quarterback, especially, and a mobile quarterback at that. Will he lose some mobility? I don't think so. He's a young man, but this is a big injury for Trey Lance. So 2 young quarterbacks on the mend right now. So this is big. This is big news. I hope Brock Purdy heals well. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Hope everybody's doing well today. Pocket says, pick up Paxton Lynch. Man loves the bench. Yeah, we don't want to use him in case of emergency situation. Man got benched in the XFL. That's ridiculous. Um, let's see. Mr. Sacra says we should keep Gappy as our third stringer for like $10 million a year. Think you mean Garoppolo? I doubt he's gonna stay. He probably is gonna get some decent offers on the market. There's a lot of teams that want a quarterback this year, right? There's so many teams: Tampa Bay, Las Vegas, Houston, the Colts, the Card or not the Card, the Panthers. I was thinking Carolina. There's a lot of teams, and they're starting jobs. Houston, the Jets, they're starting jobs, right? So I don't think Jimmy's going to take a backup role when he can get a starting job somewhere. So I don't think Garoppolo's coming back. Let's see. Pocket says Josh Johnson, most definitely. I hope. I come on. We cannot have Josh Johnson back. We can't have Josh. No disrespect to Josh Johnson, but we can't be in that situation again. The Niners need to have a premium backup because again, this could be a big time situation depending on how Brock's surgery goes. Again, I'm hoping it's the 6-month one. I'm going to be optimistic, but you never know. You just never know with this stuff. Christy, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Terrence says he's not happy about Josh Johnson. I don't think most people are. I think that a lot of people are not too happy about getting Josh Johnson on coming back. So I doubt. I would be surprised. Nathan says Josh Johnson is probably still in Philly. They might have left him there, right? Didn't bring him back. Come on, man. This guy Josh, though. I mean, low-key, I felt bad for him because he was thrown into that situation and he was probably like taking a dump in his pants. He was probably like, what am I doing in this situation? But, they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. It is what it is. Unfortunate how this season went. David says, bring in Joe Flacco. I wouldn't mind Joe Flacco. He's a crusty old veteran. He could come in and at least if they had to get to that situation where you have to use that quarterback, yeah, I don't mind Joe Flacco. But I hope we don't get to that point. Again, my whole situation is I hope we don't get to that point. But if you do, because you never know, you do need to have a decent guy. But it's a tough situation because you don't want to have to be forced to go and get a pretty good backup because you don't even want to get to that point. But then if you end up getting to that point and then you don't spend the money or get that good backup, then you're screwing yourself. So you kind of absolutely have to. The way that the luck this team has had over the last couple of years has been atrocious. So I feel like Kyle owes it to this team to make sure they get a good backup. So let's see. Minshew, Nathan, we want Minshew mania. I like Minshew. I think that'd be a good move. I wouldn't mind him. He's cool with holding the clipboard, and I think if he came in, he'd be ready to roll and take over the Bay. Minshew mania. I'm all aboard the Minshew mania train. I like Minshew. I was for it last year when we were sitting here talking about backup quarterbacks and would they go and get a guy, and I remember sitting here saying, yeah, I would love Gardner Minshew. He's a cool guy. He's worked with Kyle, I believe, in the Senior Bowl several years ago. The year that Debo came out, and was it 2019, the draft? The year that Kyle was coaching the Senior Bowl, he was coaching Gardner Minshew. So 100%, I would definitely take Gardner on this team. So Thaddeus says Marcus Mariota. I don't hate it. I don't hate the move. He'd be a third string quarterback, so I wouldn't hate the move. Honestly, I'd be okay with it. Again, he's a guy that is kind of flamed out around the league. He's not a starter guy, but if you need a backup, a guy that's going to hold the clipboard and be in an emergency situation, I'd take him over Josh Johnson. I'd take Gardner Minshew over him, though. Deshaun Kaiser, I don't think he's still around. I doubt he is. Come on now. I would be scared if we had Kaiser in a quarterback. At that point, I might actually want Josh Johnson. David said Tyrod Taylor. I'm pretty sure he's signed on a team. I like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's going to be a guy that the Niners can look into. He's a smart quarterback, decent backup, a solid backup, actually. He could come in and pick up a system pretty well, and he can, navigate a team. He could be a game manager. I like Brissett. I like Jacoby Brissett a lot, actually. I think if I had to narrow it down to 3, I'd probably go Jacoby Brissett. I'd probably go Gardner Minshew, and then maybe like a wild card out there. Mike White. I like Mike White. Oh, I see someone in the comments. Alvaro says Mike White. I like Mike White. I don't hate him. I don't hate Mike White. I think he's a good, decent young quarterback that could come in and figure stuff out. He can sling a little bit. Hurricane says Matt Ryan. No, please don't. Matt Ryan maybe 6 years ago, cool, but he's done. He's once you go to the Colts, there's no we don't want you on our team anymore. Once you get to the Colts, nah, I'm good with that. I'm definitely good without without Matt Ryan. I mean, again, I know him and Kyle have that history, but stay away from Matt. Just say no to Matt Ryan. Matty Ice, he is not nice anymore. That's my take. Again, y'all might like Matt Ryan. It's just my opinion. It's my preference. I don't like Matt Ryan though. That's me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who would you want as a backup quarterback in this situation? Who do you guys want? Drop some names out there. I'd give you Gardner Minshew. I gave you Jacoby Brissett and Mike White. Throw some names at me. Mike White, we got Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, we like those guys. Cheesecake says CJ Beathard, the man can take damage. That guy can take a hit. He could sling the ball. You know what? I wouldn't hate CJ Beathard coming back to the Niners to be QB3 for the culture. George Kittle would get this man a huge hug. He'd welcome him back with open arms. Former college teammates, former teammates on the Niners. I don't mind CJ Beathard. I like CJ. Cool dude. I don't mind him. Gino, he's probably going to stick with the Seahawks. Mark Sanchez says Terrence. Nope. Heineke says David. Yeah, I don't hate Heineke, but I think he wants a starting job somewhere, at least compete for a starting job. Backup, at least QB2. I don't know if he's going to sit there and want to be QB3, and play the QB carousel again, but he might have to. I think Heineke will go somewhere where he can be at least QB2, but I wouldn't hate Heineke. Nick Foles says 49er Jeff. Yeah, that's a good guy. He's a career backup, and he's a guy that could come in and win a Super Bowl if you need to. So, yeah, I like Nick Foles. I don't mind that guy. Not bad. Sam Darnold, he would be cheap. Yeah, I think Sam Darnold would be a very cost-efficient guy. He's a guy that's bounced around. He's got some talent. He kind of had a little bit of a little bounce back second half of last season. He played a little better than I, ever seen him play in the last while. But he has his moments. He's a backup. He's not a bad backup. Obviously, wouldn't want him to be the QB1, but dire straight situation, you throw Sam Darnold out there, yeah, I'm okay with it. Carson Wentz, Terrence, no. Yeah, Pockets, he has starting experience. We're talking about Sam Darnold. I like that. He has some start. Carson Wentz, no, man. I'm not pro Carson Wentz. I don't know. I'm so anti Carson Wentz. I don't think so. This is the only quarterback that I've seen sprain both of his ankles on the same day. Like, this man went on the injury list because he sprained both ankles. How do you sprain both of your ankles on the same day? Like, this man sprained them both. What do you have, 2 left feet? No, I don't want Carson Wentz. Stop it. Please don't get me Carson Wentz. I would be so mad if Carson Wentz is on this roster. I want to stay away from that boy. I know he went to North Dakota like Trey, so they might have that North Dakota vibe, but please keep him away from the Niners. Please, man. We already have enough injuries as it is. Carson Wentz is a walking injury. This 49ers quarterback room does not need a Carson Wentz. I'm telling you, please no. Mason Rudolph, that man can take a helmet to the face. He sure can take a helmet to the face, but I would pass on Mason. I'm not a big Mason Rudolph guy. He's Midson Rudolph, we'll call him. Please stay away from Mason Rudolph. ZP says Wentz has more years at B-Day than Trey. What was this? And his ass yet. Y'all think 1 year experience Trey is good? Nobody's saying that Trey's experience is good. We obviously know that Trey Lance needs more experience. I think that's actually opposite of what people are saying. A lot of people are saying because Trey Lance doesn't have the experience, that's why he's not good. So it's actually counterintuitive to say that. I think a lot of people want to see Trey go out there and at least do something and prove it. I feel like that's the consensus of what I've been hearing lately is give Trey a chance, give him his opportunity. I think he'd be better suited for this team than Carson Wentz. Again, I know Carson Wentz is a veteran in the league, but I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's injury prone. Carson Wentz, he sprained both of his ankles. Like I said, I just don't see it with Carson. I haven't seen him do enough. I mean, when he first came into the league, yeah, he looked like he was promising, and then he just fell apart because of the injury. So I'd pass on him. I don't know. That's just me. Mike White, we got returning Blaine Gabbert. 1 year college experience is why he isn't good. Yeah, the inexperience definitely is not a great thing. A lot of people have said that too. The inexperience of Trey Lance definitely doesn't help his case. He's a raw prospect. Again, he's a guy that we haven't really seen much in college, in the pros. He's very undeveloped. So 100%. Trey Lance's inexperience is something that is definitely showing to the masses. That's something that a lot of people have been talking about. So Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky. We got the names dropping. Hear me out, says Terrence. Says Baker Mayfield. Oh man, what do you guys think? Baker Mayfield? I don't like Baker, but he wouldn't be a bad QB3, I guess, in that situation, dire straight situation. I guess I'd take him over Wentz. Sudfeld. Nathan says I could see Sudfeld coming back. I've been saying this a lot this offseason. I could see Nate Sudfeld coming back during training camp, for the very least, to be a training camp guy and being out there to compete. Will he make the final roster? I don't know, but I do see Nate Sudfeld coming into camp. I think they'll have 3 or 4 quarterbacks at that point. And at that point, you can't have too many quarterbacks because you got to make sure that there's competition and people that can sit there and at least know the offense and then, be veteran and things like that. Because Kyle likes people that know the system. He's not going to bring people in that don't know his system. And Nate Sudfeld's played in it. He looked okay last year in training camp. So I could see him being that training camp quarterback that might stick around and stay to the practice squad. Because, Kyle, he brings people back. He cuts them. He brings them back. Jordan Matthews, we've seen it with Dante Johnson, right? He'll bring these players in. They'll stick around. They'll go to training camp, and they cut them, and they bring them right back on the practice squad. And then if some injury comes up, they can just call them up from the practice squad. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nate Sudfeld comes back to this team. You know what I mean? So ZP says Kyle is putting all his hope in Purdy and Trey right now. That's what the expectation is. That's what he said in his press conference a couple weeks ago. He said that he sees 2 starting quarterbacks in these guys. And you got to also realize both of these quarterbacks are on rookie contracts. So for them, it's smart to keep both of these guys in there and hope they can pan out because you have a lot of people you need to pay, right? And you need to upgrade some positions, right? Tackle, we want a defensive end. We want an interior D lineman, right? Maybe a center or signing our guys back. You got to extend Nick Bosa's fort. So for them to do that, they need to make sure they can take advantage of these rookie quarterbacks. It may not be what some people think is smart, even, banking on 2 young quarterbacks, but that's the league. If you look back through the league over the last 5-6 years, every Super Bowl team has had a quarterback that is on their rookie contract still. So that's how you kind of take advantage and build a team. You get a quarterback, young guy who's on a very cheap deal, and you build around them, and you build these teams. You build a defense, you build an offensive line, you build some weapons. So I feel that's the way the NFL is kind of going right now. That's just the model. That's the business model. You look at, like I said, look at the Super Bowl rosters, the Super Bowl teams. Most of these teams have a quarterback that's on a rookie deal. Now, whether they win or not is, not the actual point of it. It is a lot of teams that get to the Super Bowl have a very young quarterback or a quarterback that's on that rookie deal, so they can build a team. My man Kurt Banker, he was happy with the Niners. I like Kurt. He's like a streamer, and he just ended up being a quarterback. He said he's going to be doing the combine. You know how they have the quarterbacks that throw on the combine? He tweeted out that he's going to be one of 2 quarterbacks thrown at the combine. I like Kurt. He was a cool guy. He was a funny dude. He's a Twitch streamer, I believe. So that's how he really makes his money, but he happens to also have played in the NFL. He never really played. He was always a practice squad guy, backup guy, but it's pretty cool to be in the NFL while you're a streamer. That's a pretty cool backup day job. You could tell people, say, hey, look, I was in the NFL while you stream your video games. So it's unfortunate. Purdy's better and it's crazy because he's number 7th round pick, last pick in the draft compared to a 1st round draft pick. So the contract differential definitely is insane there. But, they both are young, talented quarterbacks. Purdy showed us so much last year. It's hard to look at his body of work of what he did last year and say, okay, he's not the guy. And again, the players have sat there and they vouched for Brock. And it's gonna be a uphill battle for Trey. But again, right now, after tomorrow, after the surgery is done, Trey's the only quarterback healthy right now. Well, in a couple of weeks when he's fully cleared to run. But going into training camp again, Brock Purdy, we don't know his status until we figure out exactly what the surgery is. But Trey Lance, right now, when training camp starts, depending on what they do, whoever they sign, right now Trey's got a leg up on everybody. He's the guy. He's quarterback one going into training camp right now at this point. Whether or not he goes out there and proves himself and Brock comes out healthy, that is all to be determined. We don't know yet. It's all a mystery. So we'll see. I'm excited. Throwback, what's up? Big City Man says Frank Gore Jr. petition starts. Man, Frank Gore Jr., his son, Frank Gore's son he's phenomenal. I hope to one day get him on the Niners. That kid is a beast, man. He can throw the ball too. He could run it. He could catch it. He could throw it. He's a super athlete. Hey, Peter Parker says Trey Area. Love Trey Area. How much will Danny Dimes cost? I think he wants like 42, 45 million a year. Is that what it is? I was reading. I think he wants like some decent money this year. 45 million for Danny Dimes? That's a lot of money. For one pretty good season? There's no way I'm paying him that much. David says, let's draft another quarterback. I will be surprised if they don't draft another quarterback, David. I would be shocked if they don't draft a quarterback. I can see them taking another quarterback in one of these rounds. They got 11 picks. Whether they keep all 11 or not is to be determined. But I do see them drafting a quarterback this year. I really do. At this point, you can't have enough quarterbacks. You know how they always have a lot of running backs? They're going to have a lot of quarterbacks on this team. Hey, Peter Park says Jones is not worth $45 million a year. You tell him that. He's pressing it. That's what I read, that he wants $45 million a year. That's crazy to me. Crazy. Crazy to me. Peter Parker, he says, I don't care what anyone says. Trey has been QB1. I know a lot of people give you pushback on that, but right now, Trey, this is his offseason. This is his time to really prove himself, because this is the time where it's basically going to be give it to him right now, and he's got every opportunity in the world to go out there and say, hey, look, I am your quarterback. And again, there's going to be a lot of people that doubt him, and whatever the case is. To me, I want to win a Super Bowl, and whoever has to be the quarterback, I'm going to ride behind him, and it is what it is. I want to see Trey Lance. Can he live up to that number 3 draft pick spot? They traded a lot to get him. I want to see him go out there and just shine. I want to see him do well. Obviously he hasn't done much in the NFL, limited opportunities. He got the injury. That was tough, but I want to see him go out there and win, because if he's winning, the 49ers are winning, and that's what we want to see. We want to see this team win Super Bowl championship. So on a scale of 1 to 10, he says, how mad are we going to be if we draft a running back in the 3rd round? I was talking about this to someone yesterday. I'm close to a 10. It'll probably be like 9.5 border 10, because listen, the 49ers and 3rd round running backs, they just can't, you can't do it. You just can't. With Kyle Shanahan, if you want a running back, go get an undrafted guy. Go get a late round draft pick for the running back. You don't need to waste your time on a 3rd round, because you're not even going to play him, Kyle. He drafts these running backs and he doesn't play them. Like, I get it. You need depth. Elijah Mitchell, he's injury prone. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. You got Mason, who looked good last year in limited, opportunities, undrafted. Ty Davis-Price, he didn't get to do much. Just like the year before, Trey Sermon. I'll be a little irritated if they take a 3rd round running back. I'm not going to lie to you. And I love CMC. We know how great he is. But don't grind that man out. You're going to wear this guy out. I know he did that in Carolina, but we don't want to flame him out. Running back is the toughest position to stay healthy in. Running back's the position that flames out easiest. It's got a short shelf life in the NFL. These running backs, they get grounded and pounded. They get hit. They're the people that take the biggest hits. They take the most hits. They take the first hits a lot of the times. Running backs are players that just don't last too long. And you got a guy like CMC, if you're going to overwork him, man, that guy's going to crumble out there. So go get some running back depth. But don't give me a 3rd round running back, because Kyle Shanahan doesn't utilize his 3rd round running backs. I hope he uses Ty Davis-Price next year. But we all thought he was going to do the same thing for Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's not even on the team anymore. So it's crazy. ZP says, is CMC going back to 22? I don't know. I think he likes that 23. It's a new era this year, but we'll see, because Jeff Wilson's not on the team anymore. So I think he was like, I don't want to, he couldn't get the 22. So now he might, I hope he doesn't because I got the 23 jersey. I'd be a little irritated if he changes up on us. I want him to stick with the 23 because I did buy the jersey. So I hope he doesn't change the jersey. Christian McCaffrey, don't change your jersey number. I'll be a little irritated. Justin Fields would have been a mini Kaepernick on the Niners. He gets hit a lot, though. Justin Fields is electric. He's dynamic. He can run. He's a guy that still needs to develop as a passer, but the guy can run like nobody's business. The guy's an electric athlete. That's what we all talked about. I remember draft season a couple years ago when he was coming out, Trey was coming out, Mac Jones was coming out, all those guys. And you could see it. Justin Fields was his game, man. He was a strong, mobile type athlete that can throw on the run. And, they just need to continue to develop that team in Chicago. Get him some weapons. Get him a good O-line because he has no O-line out there. He's getting crushed. But, it is dangerous when you're running all the time. That's a high incident for injuries. Those running quarterbacks, as good as they are, as cool as it is, as dynamic as it is, as fun as it can be sometimes, it's hard to stay healthy. You got to be able to develop that pass. That's why Mahomes is like a dime a dozen. He could run, he could pass. The guy can do it all. Agent E says they need to re-sign Jimmy Ward. I hope they re-sign him too. 9-year vet, the longest tenure Niner. I do think that he's not going to stay with the Niners. I think that eventually he's going to get signed somewhere else, probably Houston or somebody that gives him a little bit better opportunity in terms of money. Because he did talk about that. Obviously, we know when he was on live on his Instagram, and he says he would love to stay with the Niners. This was his home, for many years. But, he does have a price, and if the 49ers can't meet that, it is what it is. And this is probably his last contract he's going to sign in his career, So I get it. He's got to chase his money and get what he deserves and what he feels like he deserves. So, I get it. My man Hendrick says, Raj is saving the day. My power went out. Oh, that's tough, man. Hopefully your power comes back, man. I hate when that kind of stuff happens. So Tommy says, I wonder when we find out if we lose McGlinchey and Brendel. So free agency starts on the 15th of March. So around that time-ish, we're going to start hearing reports and we're going to see rumors like, this team is, looking into the XYZ players. So around that midweek of March, we'll start knowing a lot more. And also, too, next week is the NFL Combine. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will be there. They'll probably give us a little bit of, hints and clues of what's going to happen. So stay tuned. The next couple of weeks are going to be interesting. Although right now there's not a lot of news, just stay tuned. There will be. I might be out of town that weekend, but I will be back in town for free agency and we'll be here. We'll be covering it. It's going to be a crazy week. Free agency is always insane. So my man, Big City Man says some of the 49ers best starters now started as rookies. Play the guys. Kyle just worked them into rotations. Yeah, and that's the 49ers. They got a great rotational system, a developmental system. It's like they have a farm system. And that's one thing the 49ers are really good at is they'll draft some guys. They'll get a player, let him go through his rookie year, develop, and then boom. When one guy walks out the door, now they got a guy that's played for a few years and ready to take that next leap. So you got to love that about the 49ers, that they do a very good job in terms of developing their young players. I love it. They draft good. They love those late round picks that nobody else is looking at, and they stockpile them. They put them on the practice squad, and they really get them ready for when their time is to come. So, and they got a slew of those guys on the offensive line. You got a Jason Poe, Nick Zakel. You got players like that. You got people on the defensive line, Kalia Davis, if he can get healthy and stay, up to beat. You got players like that. In the secondary, Diamond Lenore took a big leap. He was a 5th round pick. Talanoa Hufanga was a 5th round pick, but he's really turned into a budding star. So you had a guy like Marcelino McCurry-Ball. They're bringing him back this year. I have a feeling he'll be a guy that kind of steps up and gets better and better as the time comes on. You had Azeez Al-Shahir, who probably will leave this year, but he was an undrafted guy. Emmanuel Mosley, he was an undrafted guy, right? And he probably was on pace to be a Pro Bowler this year, So 49ers do a great job. A Boogie says, what's the number one priority for the team this offseason? To me, I think it's O-line, and then after that, D-line. Those are my two big spots. But, yeah, to me, it's you got to fix that O-line. You got to make sure you solidify it because there are 3 big free agents on this line, Brunskill, Brendel, and McGlinchey. What are you going to do to fix that position? So Let's see. Halgan Gaming says, I feel like if Trey starts, Danny Gray will have 4 touchdowns and 500 yards. See a mini year for him. I feel like he is definitely best suited to play with Trey Lance and his skill set because he can throw that ball deep. Like, I think that was a guy they drafted with Trey Lance in mind. But even if Trey Lance isn't the quarterback or whatever the case is, I think Danny needs to take that leap. I hope he takes that leap this year. And he has the speed. He's got to work on those hands and those routes. He did play a little bit better down the stretch as a special teamer. He was a nice gunner. I think he was smart in being able to use his speed. Kyle Shanahan was able to utilize him as a gunner with that speed to kind of help the special team. So I like to see that. He didn't get a lot of opportunities as a wide receiver, but towards the end of the year, they did utilize him as a as a special team ace, as a gunner. So it's good to see that. To me, that tells me that Kyle was starting to develop some trust in Danny Gray, but I want to see him as a receiver. So praying for Brock to have a successful surgery. Me too. Eduardo says no block, no rock. Exactly. Peter Parker says no block, no rock. Exactly. If you can't block, Kyle Shanahan ain't giving you the rock, and that's 100%. The situation, and these guys know it, and he makes sure they know it. Brandon Ayuk had to learn that. All these guys had to learn. Kyle wants you to do more than just catch the ball, more than just do simple routes. He needs you to become a full-on do-it-all receiver. You got to be able to help in the blocking on the second level. You got to go out there and clear lanes in the running game. You need to go out there and help your guys out, like Brock or like Brandon Ayuk. You saw how good his blocking has become over the years. He wasn't really doing that when he first came in, and that's something that Kyle wanted him to develop. His route running, it was really good when he came in, but it's taken to the next level. His route running is so filthy. I love Brandon Ayuk, man, and I feel like that's what Kyle wants out of these runners, these wide receivers. He wants them to be more than just a guy that's going to go out there and catch the ball. So. Let's see. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Again, not a lot of news out there today, but I wanted to come on here and wish Brock Purdy well. Tomorrow is the surgery, and if you're watching this tomorrow morning, it's today, surgery Wednesday, and I just hope that everything goes well with him. It's sad to see so many injuries on this team, but it is what it is. It's football. It sucks, but all we can hope for is a good, speedy, and fast recovery, and in a recovery that has no setbacks and no issues. And I want to make sure everything goes well. So that's what we expect tomorrow. Again, we'll find out exactly what they kind of went in and did soon when all the, statements are released, depending on how they're going to take care of that. I don't know if they're going to just release everything tomorrow. Obviously, he's just going to be coming out of surgery. So, there is some protocol with all that. So we'll kind of, when the time comes, they'll let us know. There we go. Show some love to the channel and like and subscribe, my man. Jaime says, appreciate you. Nathan says, Niners been quiet, man. I just miss football. Dude, it's been so dry, man. I've been working a lot. I stayed off my phone for the last 2 days. I was like, oh, there's nothing. I missed, I guess there really wasn't anything. So if you're going to be off your phone, it was a good time to be off your phone. I was just like working, busy. Went out of town. Well, not out of town, but drove to another part of the city. Just staying busy. But it is definitely a tough time. This time of the off season. I hate the off season too. My man says we only got 2 likes. We got to change that. Get them likes up. Hit that like button, baby. Make sure you hit that like button. I need to have a Warriors channel. Oh man, I should make some more sports channels. I've been thinking about doing some other sports channels, but I don't know. I'm so busy that I don't really I don't really have time to do other than this page. Like I haven't even had much time lately to do my 49ers content. I don't know. I haven't been posting much these last few days. Just been too busy with work and other stuff. But I don't know. I always think about doing like another sports page, like just all sports, or another all NFL. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to do that. So the off season's rough, man. If you just cover one team, there's like not a lot sometimes. So you gotta. It's one of those things where you gotta really stretch it out, or you lose like you got to use like last year's content. I've done that so many times where I'm like, I'm just rehashing old stuff. At some point, I'm like, I don't even want to post it. I get to that point now where I look at old stuff. I was like, oh, I could repost this. Nobody will know. And I'm like, why should I rehash stuff? That's what a lot of people do. So appreciate you, man, honey. Appreciate you. Aren't I a Spurs fan? Yeah, I like the Spurs. I always was a Spurs fan, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a bandwagon Warriors fan. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Ever since I moved out here, Warriors are a good team. They win. Sick and tired of seeing them always winning. So I go to the games sometimes, and it's nice to go and watch the Warriors game. I'm going to a game next week on the 28th. I'll be at the Warriors Portland game. Low key, I like the Warriors. I mean, Spurs, man, we're struggling. We haven't been good in years. Popovich, he doesn't like to make these splashy signings. So I'm gonna go follow the Warriors a little bit while I live in the Bay. It is what it is. A Boogie says, I was so heavily invested in the season, I still can't get over the NFC Championship. Man, it was frustrating. I'm so heavily involved in every year, and when we get to that point, we lose. It's like your soul is ripped out of you. Eduardo says, at least you admit it. Hey, man, if you're gonna be a bandwagon on a team, you got to embrace it. You got to admit it, because there's people that are Warriors fans here that I know here in this town since I moved here, and I know they weren't Warriors fans their whole life, but I've always loved them. I've always loved them. I'm like, you don't even know who Chris Mullen is, and they're like, who? I'm like, listen, exactly, man, exactly. You don't even know who Chris Mullen is, and you claim to be a Warriors fan. At least know the old players, the We Believe Warriors. Those guys were crazy. Anyways, that's about it for tonight. Not too much news going on. I got to make some dinner. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your week. Hopefully, Brock Purdy's surgery goes well. We get an update tomorrow saying Brock Purdy's completed successful surgery, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure we'll get this news tomorrow at some point, and we'll probably find out what they actually went in and did, and it'll give us a little bit more clarification on the timeline. And if we don't get it tomorrow, my guess is by the time John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan meet with the media next week during the combine, we'll get those answers. That's my take on everything. So we'll probably get those answers pretty soon, within the next week or so, hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see. Prayers up to Brock Purdy, man. I hope his surgery goes well. So, yeah, that's it. I just hope that everything goes well for him and he can successfully recover and get back to playing football, because we need that. That guy's magical run, man. The guy was unbelievable. Nothing but respect to Brock Purdy. So appreciate y'all. Kai says, I hate this time of the season where there's nothing new. It is so dry. I agree. Appreciate y'all. Go Warriors. Have a good night.